The royal family recently gathered at Buckingham Palace for the reading of Queen Elizabeth's last will. She had left behind not just her wealth and estates, but also messages about power, legacy, and the monarchy's future. Yet, in a surprising break from tradition, Prince Andrew, not King Charles, was chosen to read it. Why Andrew? And what did the Queen leave behind? Stay with us as we reveal the shocking details of her inheritance. As Prince Andrew stepped forward, Buckingham Palace fell into an eerie silence. This moment had long been inevitable, yet it still felt surreal. The family sat in solemn anticipation, each person carrying their own expectations and doubts. This was more than just a will. It was the Queen's final word. It had the power to reshape the family's roles and even the monarchy itself. And at the center of it all was Andrew, an unexpected choice. Many questioned why he was given this duty instead of Charles or Anne. Some doubted his ability to handle it, but there he stood, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. With a deep breath, his hands trembled as he reached for the envelope. The soft crack of the wax seal breaking echoed through the silent room. As Andrew pulled out the first page, the tension in the room thickened. "This is my last will," he began. For a brief moment, it felt as though the Queen herself had spoken. The mood shifted. Some felt relief, others anxiety. Andrew quickly realized how much his mother's words would reveal. Her message began simply, expressing gratitude for her family's support and dedication to the monarchy. But as he read further, things became personal. The Queen had left direct instructions, starting with Charles. "To my dear son, Charles," Andrew recited. The words were formal, but the meaning was clear. Charles was entrusted with Windsor Castle. No surprise there. He barely reacted, giving only a slight nod. But then, things took an unexpected turn. "I have given Sandringham estate to my daughter, Anne," Andrew read. A murmur spread through the room. Sandringham was one of the royal family's most significant properties, always tied to the reigning monarch. Now, it belonged to Anne. She remained composed, but a flicker of surprise crossed her face. Charles, however, looked visibly unsettled. But Andrew pressed on, revealing the will's most shocking details. The Queen had broken tradition. Some properties, once granted to a single heir, were now shared among the family. "Balmoral will hold a shared purpose," Andrew read. "No longer under one person's control, it would be divided among several members." Balmoral was more than an estate. It was the heart of the family's private moments. Sharing it was a deeply symbolic move, and not everyone approved. Charles, in particular, looked uneasy. Then came the personal bequests. "To Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, I give the Vladimir tiara, which stands for grace and continuation," Andrew announced. Catherine's expression remained neutral, but her eyes flickered with gratitude. It was more than jewelry. It was a message. She would be the future of the monarchy. Andrew moved to the younger generation. "Prince George has a responsibility," he read. The Queen's words carried weight. His role as future king was not just about title, but about the people he would serve. The tension in the room deepened. Then, the moment everyone dreaded arrived. Andrew's voice dropped. "To Prince Harry, I leave a ceremonial sword that once belonged to King George VI." The reaction was instant. William shifted uncomfortably. The sword was a symbol of duty, strength, and legacy. Was it an olive branch? A reminder of what Harry had left behind? Or a warning? The room was stunned. Harry's absence felt like a deliberate presence in itself. The ceremonial sword, passed down through generations, was now his responsibility. Why? What message was the Queen sending? Charles was visibly shaken, his calm facade slipping. His hands tightened on the armrest and his jaw clenched. The mention of Harry, especially after his departure from royal life, stung. Why was he still part of this? Why should he receive such a symbol of respect when he had walked away from the family? William, too, was struggling. His eyes flashed with emotion, quickly masking it as he glanced toward his father, then away. He wasn't ready for the throne, but even he could see the unsettling shift taking place. Catherine sat still, her gaze steady, understanding the weight of the situation. The tiara, the family legacy, was now hers. But it wasn't just an adornment. It was a challenge. The will, it seemed, had more to reveal. The atmosphere in the room was thick with questions, the air heavy with uncertainty. The royal family's future was no longer a matter of succession. It was about navigating a new, more complex path where old traditions were being redefined. And then, just when they thought the bombshells had stopped coming, the final part of the will arrived. One last, unexpected twist. But that's a story for another time. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the tension and uncertainty behind Queen Elizabeth's final wishes. As Andrew finished reading, the weight of the Queen's will settled over the room. Her final wishes were clear: unity in the face of division, strength in hardship, and meaning in service. The royal family, already strained, now faced the challenge of honoring her legacy. Charles and William struggled with the unexpected inclusion of Harry, while Anne, ever composed, recognized the deeper message. The Queen had entrusted her family with more than just land and jewels. It was a call to duty, to carry the monarchy forward with unity. As the room fell silent, each royal absorbed the responsibility placed upon them. The Queen had reshaped their future. Now, it was up to them to honor her wishes and preserve the legacy of the monarchy. Anne remained unreadable, but her eyes softened as Andrew read the Queen's acknowledgement of her role as the family's anchor. A rare, quiet moment of recognition. Then, Andrew turned to Charles. The Queen's message was clear. The monarchy must evolve. It wasn't just about passing down a crown, it was about living by the ideals that defined it. The room sat in deep thought. Finally, Charles spoke, his voice calm but firm. This is not just a privilege, it is a duty. And with that, the future of the monarchy was set into motion. Charles spoke of the need for complete dedication to the task ahead. His words were heavy with responsibility, and the others nodded in agreement. Their faces reflected a mix of determination and contemplation. Despite their different reactions, the Queen's vision for the future united them in purpose. Anne stayed behind as the family scattered to reflect. The will sat folded neatly in front of her, but she didn't rush to leave. She sat quietly, lost in thought, the Queen's words echoing in her mind. Her mother's voice, a call for strength and unity, was undeniable. The task ahead was immense, but Anne had always been prepared for it. Her role had never been easy, and today it was no different. She slowly stood, folding the will back into its envelope, taking a moment of stillness before stepping back into the world outside. The palace gardens were peaceful, life moving on as usual. But inside, something monumental had occurred. The Queen's words would carry them forward, even in moments of uncertainty. Anne knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but the strength to carry it would come from within. Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts on Queen Elizabeth's will? Share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click the video on your screen to continue the journey.